Hi and welcome back to the channel. So I am here giving you a part 5 to the Google video because I have been approved, and so if you've been watching this series all week, you'll know that at the time of my last few recordings I have not been approved yet because it takes a long time for Google to decide that I am worth it. Well, they decided I was worth it, so I decided to do a part 5. Now, I was approved maybe a week ago, so I'm literally recording this final part many days after part 4, but that's okay because I'm not making you wait many days to watch it. So congratulations for timeliness. So anyway, that said, we're going to look at the result of the conversion from nothing to something. As you can see, we're still in the description stage here, and you'll also notice that I've added some spaces between the lines. You'll find that when you go into the descriptions on the store page, you'll actually want these spaces. So just thought I'd throw that out there. It's something I didn't mention in the last video on Google because I didn't know. So the other thing is the page count, just again, kind of review. Another way you can decide on what that should be is if you take the number of words for your document and divide by 250 and then round to the nearest whole number. That's another way of getting the page count. When you look at this particular title, Shell Out, there's a number of different storefronts that it's available, and they all report different page counts. So it's probably an arbitrary number what you put here ultimately, and I think there's a good chance that Google will probably figure it out on its own anyway, so I'm not even sure if putting a page count matters. So I just want to throw that out there. I think it matters more when you have a fixed paperback or hardcover. So keep that on. Anyway, all right. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to exit out of Edit the Book because we're not editing. So we're back to the catalog, and you'll see that now all my red lines are gone. There's no more issues. That means it's all good. So what we can do now is we can look and see what the results are. So we'll go ahead and click on the book. And by clicking on the book, it's going to take you to the status. And you'll notice that these are the basic elements that define it. There's two versions of Google Book. There's the Google Play version and the Google Book version. So the difference is the Google Play is what customers can buy and load onto their tablets, e-readers, whatever it is that they're reading it on. They can get either the PDF or the EPUB here. Google Book is the scan. It's like the database or record. And one thing that they're clear on is anything that you go put into Google Books is not in conflict with KDP because it's just a scan. It's not a purchase. It's not a competitive element. So you can read up on it. It gets a little more detailed, so I don't want to give bad advice here if you are considering going on Kindle Unlimited. Although I don't know why you'd want to do that because exclusivity doesn't really work that well. But anyway, it's up to you. You can do what you want. But by going on Google Books, you're not in conflict with anything. But we're going to check that in a minute. I want to actually show you how Shell Out looks on the Google Play Store so you can get a sense for your own story, what's going to happen. Now, I also want to give you a kind of an overview of what my experience is so far. I think it's probably best if you register with Google first, get the approval, and then start uploading books, because what happens with Shell Out in particular is I think my approval came through earlier this week, and right now it's May 22nd. So I uploaded the book on May 10th, as you can see. If you go into the book shop, it's going to give you all of the new releases, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be all the releases for that day. If you go down into, oh, it's in here somewhere. Again, you can scroll through, but there's a section for new releases. And my book didn't show up anywhere, and I think the ones that did show up are the ones that were released that day. So my theory, and again, I can't prove it, but I might, new arrival, that's probably where it is. My theory is that when I set the upload date for May 10th, which is the date that I started the account, because it took them over a week to get my approval, by the time my book could go live, it was already a week old, so it was not even really a new release anymore. So I think it's possible, and again, I don't have evidence of this, but I think it's possible that I've already missed out on getting exposure for the book because I uploaded the book with my account. So my advice is if you do not have a Google account yet or a Google Books author account, do that first, wait for the approval, and then start uploading your books. That way your first book will have a greater chance of getting discovered. And that's assuming you don't already have a marketing plan, which you should probably have anyway. That's not really my area of expertise at this point, so I can't really give you marketing advice. I'm pretty bad at it myself, and I think my book sales prove that. But I did get a book on Google Play, so I know how to do that. Anyway, going back to the books itself. So if you put my books, this is actually not technically the book that I made. It's the book that I bought in theory. So when you go into my books category, you're not actually necessarily getting your authored books. You're getting books that you've downloaded or bought. So make sure you have that distinction. So in order to go back to your own book, you'll actually have your tab open likely. So if you just click over, you're right back in. So keep that in mind. We're going to come back to that in a minute. I want to just show you a few more things here. So when you actually do have a book in the library, again, this shows up after you buy your own book or after you download it if it's a free one. Once you click on this little tab here, you can actually have access to your books. So when you want to view whether or not your conversion worked, just download the EPUB, download the PDF. So I'm going to actually show you the EPUB. It looks just like what we did on the second video, but I want to show you the PDF because if you recall, when we put together the two different forms, I said that I wanted to use the better version. Well, I've done the better version off camera, and so now when I download it and click on it, you can actually see, you'll get a little splash screen here from Google itself that'll, disclaimer, but when you scroll down, you'll just get the book, and you'll notice that it's the version that I made through Infinity Publisher. So it's much nicer formatted. I got the page numbers, I got my header here, I kind of lowered the opacity of the $sign, and I made it look nicer. And so this is what your reader will get if you actually go through the effort to put up a nice version for them and they click download. It'll go to the web, so it doesn't necessarily have to go to the computer unless they want to right click save, or if they want to save up here. But yeah, they can read it right off the internet, and it looks nice. And it's worth the effort. It's worth the time put into making it presentable. So that's one thing where I think that if you really want to step up and really make Google your go-to for your best products, again, Amazon, they're the giants. They're the ones you're going to have probably the best sales luck because that's where most of the shoppers are. But let's be honest, the presentation quality, in order to get this on Amazon, you're going to have to charge a paperback price because they're not going to just sell a PDF. But you do this through Google, even on the standard ebook. I would read this. I would read it anyway because it's a good story, and you should read it too because it's free. You don't have to pay anything. But that said, even if it was 99 cents or whatever, it's a nice quality piece of work. So that's something to just keep in mind when you're writing is, do you care about your presentation? Well, Google will let you have your presentation if you do it right. So that's something I wanted to show you. And then, of course, if you have a series, I don't have any series books in here, but this is where you would be able to chart your series. I'm sure any related books will show up there too. So if I wanted to add another file, I just go to upload and then start the process over again. I'm not going to do that right now because I haven't really gone through the effort of doing the process that I did for Shell Out for my other books yet. I was waiting until I got this series done before I go back and add more. But I'll be doing that probably by the time you see this video. I should have at least 11 miles from home uploaded. Maybe there are a few of them. But anyway, so regarding the Google Books, just a real quick scan here, since I said we would check it out. It's pretty basic. It's just a scan. Really, there's nothing terribly interesting about this page. You can look at it more if you want. It's a good place for those who just want to have a reference to go and look. It's almost like a library for Google. But this is, I believe, based on the Google Book scan that they did about 10 years ago when they wanted to try to get every book ever created digital. So I believe that's what this point of this is. This is why it's not going to interfere with KDP, Kindle Unlimited, anything like that. The last thing I want to go back to is the analytics. So this is where I think Google is not as good as the other sites. If you go to Smashwords, if you go to KDP, they have really nice flowcharts. In fact, let me pause here for a second. I'm going to show you the differences between their data structure and then the one here. So over on Smashwords, you've got a lot of different menu choices that you can use in order to manage your books. And of course, if you go down the list here, this is a brief overview of all your books that you have on their storage, and of course, anything they have distributed. And this is just one of many menus that they have, and that you can have your full control of all your books here. And it's really nice to have that. And so, in order to see this more visually, you just go to the daily sales, and you can see the bar graph here, and then you have the pie chart, and then that's for the different stores that they distribute to. And if you want to check it by books, just click over here. You got all the different graphs. You can see that a couple of days ago I had a sale on Superheroes Anonymous, which is right now free until May 31st, just FYI. So Smashwords, I think, really kind of goes above and beyond on the reports. If you go to KDP, again, you have nice menu of nice record of all your books, but when you go into the reports section, which again I don't really have any sales on KDP, so I would have to actually do reports from all time for you to get a really nice picture of what's going on here. It's just a standard chart, and you can kind of see where the sales are. It doesn't really tell you what got sold until you go down and actually select by the book. So I happen to know that Fountain of Truth had a sale a couple times, and should actually be free, so I don't think I ever got money for it. And then I know Gutter Child got a sale, a couple of them. And I mean, it gives you the report here, but I like these because they're right there on the site. You don't really need to do anything fancy. Go over on Drafted Digital. Again, you have this is your main book section, but if you want to see specifically how something's doing, you can. And this, by the way, it's all publishing because I opted into Hoopla and in the new French store called Vivlio, which Drafted Digital they just opened this week. So that's why everybody's on the publishing cycle right now. But anyway, when I go back to the reports, again, Drafted Digital, no one's buying from it because I only have, I think, 3 stores I'm sending to through here, and I think most of them are libraries, so I'm not going to have any real good reports. But even if I did, I mean, you can see that it's an interesting looking interface. Would I like to have a record of sale? Everybody wants that. But what's nice about it is it's just easy to see. And what's also cool is over here in the reports, you can click any of these parameters and see what's happening. You're seeing all these zeros because I don't mark it. I'm sure if I mark it, it'll probably do better. But the point being is that Drafted Digital, Smashwords, KDP, they all have nice interfaces when it comes to giving reports. Google has this. And so if I want to get a sense for what my report should be, well, okay, Google Play Sales Summary Report, Transaction Report, Traffic Report. Traffic Report is probably the best one to take because, this is everybody who actually goes to your page. The sale, I don't know if it reports free sales or not. I know Kobo doesn't do that. That's why I'll never see a Kobo sale for my free books on Smashwords because Kobo doesn't report that. So I honestly have no idea how popular my books are on Kobo. Never, for in the 5 years that I've had these books online, I've yet to know how well I'm doing on Kobo. So that's another issue for another day. But yeah, one thing I do like about Google is it allows you to select what kind of report you want. So because I think Traffic Report is probably the one that has the most likely case, I would put in one I want to know. So I uploaded the book on the 10th. I know no one's seen it at least until the day that my account went live, so that's going to be inaccurate anyway. But if I pick today, and then I can select what I want my data to show. By date, it's fine. I'll export it, and then it's probably going to take a little while for it to load because it's not fast. Again, everything on Google is very slow. So I'm actually going to pause the video until it loads, and I'll be right back. And we're back. So this window opens up. You can open it right in Excel. And my guess is no one saw it, so it'll probably be empty. But needless to say, it exports to a. This is not it. This is something else I was working on. Sorry. This is it. Oh, so I actually had views. See, look at that. So if you want to go ahead and format, you can set your column width. We'll just say I like 25 as a good round number to get really see clearly. So these are the days that we're looking at. I had 2 people visit on the 19th, 4 on the 20th, and then 5 yesterday. And then the book visit with page view, non-unique buy clicks. So it's basically telling me that no one bought it or no one downloaded it. I'm wondering if this has anything to do with my own visit. I don't know if it's smart enough to determine that I'm the owner of the book and therefore it shouldn't count me. I have no idea. But this still gives you an overview of what the traffic looks like, or if you have a sale, again, it'll show that. But this is the difference between Google and the others is with Google, the only way to review your reports is to have Excel. So if you don't have Excel, you probably aren't going to know how you're doing. So that's sort of, or I guess you can probably open up in Google's own spreadsheet. I'm sure that'll work. But yeah, that's really the end result of our adventure in Google. So, I hope you learned something from all of this. If this is something that you like, then, give Google a try. I mean, again, there's no reason why you shouldn't give it a go. It's open. You can, if you are a writer or you plan to be a writer, now's a good time to start breaking in because now you have literally everybody. Oh, and actually, while we're on the topic of Google, if you go back to Draft to Digital, and if you happen to be either a user of Draft to Digital, or at least if you have Books to Read, which is their sister site, if you go on the Books to Read link, find that dun, 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 Google Play is on the list. So I like this. If you've watched my Draft to Digital video, you'll see that I've already talked a lot about this. But yeah, it's all of these storefronts are now quick linked access to shell out, and Google Play is now on the list. So it makes me happy. So, and if you're wondering how I did that, it's just if you go through Draft to Digital, or even if you go through if you have the Books to Read account, if you go through promotion, and then edit the UBL, this is where all of your information is. You just hit the rescan for links crawler, and it'll go through all the known stores, and it'll search all of the metadata, all the description, everything that it can match to your book, it'll find, and then it'll populate this list. And so it's a quick way of finding out not only where your book is located throughout the internet, but it's also a fast way to populate all the storefronts onto your link so that you can use it on your store page, which I still have to update on my website. This is the latest book to get the Draft to Digital treatment, and I have not yet actually uploaded my own website to have that information. So I can't show you that, but anyway, the point being is you can use the Books to Read link to all of your stores, and they're all region specific too, so it saves you from having to have 1,000 links all over the internet for all types of readers. It just, you send all your readers to this one link, and then they choose what they want. So it's pretty handy. And then you can also rename your link to something more, if I wanted something Books to Read, shell out, or Books to Read, my book shell out, or whatever. I could do that if I wanted to. I haven't really gotten that far. I don't know if I'm going to. I mean, this link works. But anyway, if you have any other concerns about Google Play, go and explore it. There's no reason not to get on the bandwagon. Again, if you have books, you can see now it's not that difficult to get in, and even if you want to upload more, just go through the different tabs. So you can find your way. It's not bad. And when you're all done, it can look like this. See? Nice and thorough. The law looks nice. And you even have a nice little Epub preview when you click on read. Yep, yep, yep. All right. So that is Google Play Books. Glad you watched the series. There may be a part 6, there may be a part 7. If there are, it'll essentially be about promotions and maybe advanced Epub. I don't know if those will show up, but if they do, it'll be later. So I don't know when. But anyway, until then, thanks for watching, and come back for the next video. Bye.